Friends, who understands? During the 618 shopping festival, I put the company address for my online purchase, but before the delivery was even shipped, the company went bankrupt.
上海现在的现状，你听了可能都不敢相信。
The situation in Shanghai right now might be hard for you to believe. Many large companies are laying off workers and cutting salaries, while small companies are struggling on the verge of losses and bankruptcy. This afternoon, I had lunch with an old friend, and he suddenly said he and his wife were planning to return to their hometown for a fresh start. This might be our last meal together in Shanghai. I was stunned and asked, "After living here for so many years, can you really leave?" He said, "I can't even afford a hot pot right now. With a mortgage of $7,000 or $8,000 a month, it's suffocating. My salary is going down instead of up, and I'm always worried about being laid off. Want to sell my house? Property prices are dropping every day, and even if I sell, I'll have to pay over $1 million out of my pocket." Online, they keep saying the public is deliberately not consuming, but the reality is, it's not that we don't want to spend, it's that we literally have no money. The so-called hundreds of thousands in savings per person is just an average. Even for myself, after deducting my mortgage and living expenses, there's basically nothing left every month. Recently, a shocking consensus has been circulating online in China. The once glorious first-tier cities of Shanghai and Shenzhen are now undergoing a strange transformation. Three bizarre phenomena have quietly emerged and are spreading to surrounding cities at a noticeable pace. The first strange phenomenon is the simultaneous existence of luxury mansions and slums. Once flourishing Shanghai and Shenzhen have now become increasingly divided. On one side, there are high-end areas like Qiantan and Huahai, where luxury homes cost tens of millions, and the price per square meter can reach 250,000 yuan. The wealthy living in tall buildings sip red wine worth thousands of yuan, gazing at the city's dazzling skyline from the balconies, where the lights sparkle and the view is unparalleled. But just on the other side of the same piece of land, only separated by a wall, the scene is completely different. Low-rent housing, dim lighting, and workers huddling in street-side stalls, haggling over a 6 yuan plate of fried noodles. Next to the riverside apartments in Lujiaozui, delivery workers cram into shanty towns where the monthly rent is only 500 yuan. In the tech parks along Shennan Avenue, the talent apartments are barely lit at night, while on the other side of the wall, the handshake buildings in the urban villages are bustling with activity, the sounds of food and chatter filling the air. It's the same city, but it feels like two different worlds. The price-to-income ratio in prime areas is shockingly high, often reaching 100 to 1. This means that an ordinary office worker would have to work for 100 years without eating or drinking just to afford a home. Meanwhile, just nearby, the rent in urban villages continues to drop year after year. The environment keeps deteriorating, yet remains a last refuge for migrant workers, delivery drivers, food delivery riders, and the lower-tier workforce. In fact, this polarized urban landscape is not a coincidence. Behind it lies the local government's heavy reliance on land-based finance. To maximize fiscal revenue, the CCP government often sells prime land at high prices to large developers who build luxury residences and commercial complexes. Meanwhile, the redevelopment projects for shantytowns and urban villages in the same area are delayed again and again due to insufficient compensation funds and high demolition costs. The result is that high-end real estate continually takes away policies, resources, and infrastructure support. This is a typical structural distortion. Luxury neighborhoods enhance a city's outward appearance, while slums bear the burden of its inner workings. Behind the seemingly glamorous metropolis lie too many invisible victims. As a result, urban villages rely on rented housing, small family-run shops, and street-side stalls to generate their own income, supporting the survival cycle of low-cost laborers like food delivery riders, couriers, and cleaners. Urban villages are not only dormitories for these workers, but also serve as a buffer for the city's service prices. If these areas were fully demolished and rebuilt, the cost of a takeaway meal or a home service could immediately double. Worse yet, as the supply of land for sale becomes scarcer and land transfer revenues continually decline, local government finances are tightening, making it even harder to invest in affordable housing and infrastructure. The most brutal part is that this symbiotic arrangement is gradually solidifying. High property prices are pushing the middle class out of reach, forcing more young people to downgrade their living standards. With luxury homes in core areas monopolizing resources, it's becoming even harder for children of low-income families to break through the ceiling. Meanwhile, housing policies that favor high-end development while neglecting basic supply are slowly tearing apart the city's fairness and opportunity structure. The second strange phenomenon is the lowering of household registration barriers, also known as hukou, in major cities, while the population continues to accelerate its departure. In an effort to attract talent, China's 4 major first-tier cities have quietly eased their previously stringent requirements in recent years, lowering the thresholds for obtaining household registration. In Shanghai, as long as you are a graduate of a double first-class university, you can directly obtain a hukou. In Guangzhou, residents in 7 main districts can apply for household registration by purchasing a property and paying 1 year of social insurance. In one of Guangzhou's administrative districts, Huadu, there are even reports of a clear signal that buying a house comes with a hukou. These measures would have been unimaginable a decade ago. First-tier cities were once the dream destination pursued by thousands, a land of opportunity and golden springboard in the hearts of countless young people. Yet today, despite this lowered stance, it has not led to a return or embrace from the younger generation. Taking Shanghai as an example, data shows that in 2024, while the city's registered permanent population increased by 166,000, the total population actually decreased by 72,000. The reason for this is that the number of migrant residents dropped by 238,000. This presents a striking and cautionary contrast. Other first-tier cities, such as Beijing, Guangzhou, and Shenzhen, have also experienced varying degrees of population loss. So why are more and more people choosing to live big cities? The reason they leave is not difficult to understand. It's because the cost-effectiveness of first-tier cities is collapsing. Many people are very clear in their minds. Working relentlessly in a first-tier city might only lead to just surviving. If work becomes unstable or something happens at home, even dignity becomes unattainable. In the past, big cities were dreams, opportunities, and a place where hard work meant upward mobility. But now, in the eyes of many, they have become like a heartless meat grinder, draining your youth, emptying your wallet, and ultimately leaving you with nothing but scraps. As Chinese internet celebrity Zhang Shufeng once said, "No matter how good big cities are, they are not meant for you." Another person mentioned in a video that these strange phenomena are spreading from big cities to small cities, affecting the lives of ordinary people.
告诉大家一个不好的消息。
I have some bad news to share. In Shanghai and Shenzhen, some strange phenomena are starting to emerge, and they are gradually spreading to other cities. The first point is that wage increases and rising prices never align. Do you know how high the basic cost of living is in these big cities? It might shock you. For 3 meals a day, even if you're not picky and just want to fill your stomach, it will cost about 100 yuan. If you occasionally want to improve your meals or add an extra dish, the expenses go up by several dozen yuan. On top of that, there's rent and utilities. At the end of the month, you can't make ends meet without at least 6,000 yuan. But what about our salaries? In cities like Shanghai and Shenzhen, the basic salary is generally only around 2,500 yuan, and performance bonuses and commissions, and it's still unstable. Many factories are seeing declining profits, with layoffs and salary cuts happening, and many people can't even maintain basic living standards. Some have been forced to return to their hometowns, while others continue to struggle, holding on for the sake of their so-called dreams. Second point is that the rich find it easier to make money, and the wealth gap is growing wider. In cities like Shanghai and Shenzhen, many idealistic and ambitious people come here to start businesses, hoping to realize their life goals. But the truth is, those who manage to make it and succeed are rare. Don't be fooled by the glamorous surface. Many people who seem successful on the outside are actually struggling behind the scenes. Those with strength and capital continue to grow, earning more and more, while small business owners with weak foundations and limited funds are quickly eliminated. The reality is harsh. The richer you are, the easier it is to gain resources. The fewer connections you have, the more people ignore you. The rich are getting richer, the poor are getting poorer, and the survival of the fittest has become the most accurate portrayal of life in big cities.
Additionally, she mentioned that the number of migrant workers is decreasing. It's not that big cities don't need them, but the pressure of life is so overwhelming that it forces people to leave. She has several friends who, after graduating from university, went to Shanghai and Shenzhen to fight for a living, but in the end, chose to return to their hometowns. Why? They have no background, no savings, and their parents can't help. Going to a big city alone to work, buying a house, getting married, and having children is nearly impossible. More and more people are seeing reality clearly and choosing to return to third and fourth tier cities. Whether working or starting a business, the pressure is relatively smaller and life is more stable. At the same time, due to these pressures, many marriages today are built on money and benefits, unlike in the past when, though life was tough, couples were united and supported each other. Back then, even if there was only 10 yuan, it was cherished as if it were 100. It was rare to hear of divorces, but now, as living conditions have improved, divorces are becoming more common, especially in big cities. When people have money, they can maintain relationships, but once money runs out and they can't meet each other's expectations, it's an instant breakup and a quick search for the next better option. The reality is harsh. When marriage becomes a transaction and everything revolves around money, how could it possibly last? The third strange phenomenon is an increasingly apparent consumer segmentation, such as luxury stores being eerily quiet, while 1 yuan shops are bustling with activity. In first-tier cities like Shanghai, Shenzhen, and Guangzhou, many luxury flagship stores have seen their foot traffic drop to single digits. In February, luxury stores experienced the first wave of closures. Gucci shut down 2 stores in one day. Since 2024, the 6 major luxury brands, Hermès, Chanel, Louis Vuitton, Dior, Gucci, and Prada, have closed 14 stores in mainland China, with all but Hermès shrinking their presence. At the same time, the financial reports of luxury brands have also cooled. Louis Vuitton saw a 3% year-on-year sales decline in the first quarter of 2025. It was far below analysts' expectations of a slight increase, with its core fashion and leather goods division dropping by 5%. Kering's revenue fell by 14% in the same period, with Gucci's direct retail income dropping another 25%. The group has already closed 25 stores globally in an effort to stem the bleeding. While Hermès still maintains double-digit growth in its annual report, it too issued a warning in the first quarter, with slower demand in China and sales falling short of expectations. In the current economically pressured environment, affordable consumption channels have instead become incredibly popular. On the opening day of Costco's first store in Shenzhen, the waiting time was close to 3 hours, and 140,000 membership cards sold out instantly, setting a global single-store membership sign-up record. The 10 yuan brand, Miniso, has also reached a performance peak. Its revenue in the first quarter of 2025 hit 4.4 billion yuan, a 19% year-on-year increase. With nearly 8,000 stores worldwide, its overseas business surged by 30%, continuing to attract customers with affordable alternatives and IP collaborations. At the same time, major shopping malls are setting up 5 yuan zones and 9.9 yuan pop-up stores to attract large crowds. Take the MixC Mall in Shenzhen as an example. During the May 1st holiday, single-day foot traffic exceeded 300,000, a nearly 90% increase year-on-year. In summary, the tighter the wallets, the longer the lines at bargain prices. Affordable, practical, and storable items have become the new emotional anchor for city dwellers. Furthermore, the explosive success of Pop Mart is no coincidence. It is a typical example of emotional shift and consumer substitution in the context of a cooling luxury goods market and the trend of consumption downgrade. With luxury stores becoming nearly deserted and the middle class no longer willing to spend tens of thousands on handbags, people have shifted their focus to cheaper, more stress-relieving items. Pop Mart perfectly fills this gap. For just a few dozen yuan, you could buy a blind box and experience a low-threshold small happiness. Characters like Molly and Skull Panda can also provide the emotional satisfaction once offered by luxury brand logos. Pop Mart uses limited edition, hidden editions, and collaborations in a way that mirrors luxury brands' scarcity marketing, but with a much lower entry barrier. It's both stress-relieving and fun. Its success is actually a reflection of how the focus of consumption has shifted from showing off status to alleviating anxiety. In a time of high property prices and mounting pressure, city residents are more willing to pay for small, beautiful, light, and fast experiences that bring immediate joy. Behind all this is a wealth cliff that the middle class is experiencing. In the first quarter of 2025, the clearance rate for foreclosure properties in the first-tier cities exceeded 40%, with many once-prized luxury homes being auctioned off at low prices. Properties worth tens of millions of yuan are now burdened with heavy debt. High-paying industries are generally downsizing, year-end bonuses are shrinking, and with the dual blow of mortgage payments and stock market losses, the middle class has no choice but to cut back on expenses. They have shifted from buying bags as investments to community group buying for near-expiry goods. Their consumption mindset has changed from value-adding to survival-focused, no longer pursuing the premium of luxury goods, but instead prioritizing cost-effectiveness and the small joys that can be immediately realized. In this round of widespread contraction, luxury is no longer a symbol of status. Living practically has become the main theme. Many industry insiders even admit that today's consumer market is showing an extreme dual-track structure. The rich are getting richer, the lower class is struggling, and the once most powerful consumer group, the middle class, is collectively sinking. So, what comes next? It's predictable that three trends are gradually emerging. First, in the context of overall consumption downgrade and market saturation, the luxury goods industry will enter an intense phase of stock competition, inevitably forcing more brands to accelerate their strategy adjustments, such as store closures plus secret price cuts. Even Hermès, which has always maintained its image as a hard currency brand, has started to slow down its expansion pace in China. Meanwhile, groups like Kering and LVMH are more inclined to select the best and concentrate resources on retaining the best-performing stores and cities. Secondly, affordable alternatives are no longer just synonyms with cheap goods. They are gradually upgrading to light luxury and personalized offerings, driving the rapid rise of small luxury subcategories. Fragrances, cosmetics, trendy toys, and limited-time collaborations, affordable little joys, continue to grow, perfectly aligning with Bain's report on the emerging small luxury consumption trend. Spending what you can afford and enjoying it has become the mainstream mentality of young consumers. Finally, the entire middle class is undergoing a period of balance sheet repair, which is expected to last at least through 2025. Before there is a significant rebound in housing prices and the stock market, the era of high growth for luxury goods is unlikely to return. Instead, high traffic, high salaries efficiency models like 1 yuan stores and 5 yuan zones will continue to thrive, becoming a safe haven for consumption during the economic downturn. So what is the fundamental reason behind these strange phenomena? First, in the process of urbanization, development dividends have been seized by a small group of vested interests, while the relocation of manufacturing industries has cut off upward mobility for ordinary workers. Taking Lu Jiaozui in Shanghai as an example, financial professionals can easily earn annual salaries in the millions, while lower-tier service workers in the same city struggle to make more than 6,000 yuan a month. The wealth gap is striking. Additionally, the high operational costs have driven away the economy. In Shenzhen's Nanshan district, for example, the vacancy rate of office buildings has exceeded 30%, yet property fees continue to rise year after year. Faced with persistent operational pressure, many businesses have accelerated their exits, leaving office buildings as empty landmarks. Finally, the mindset of the new generation of consumers is undergoing profound changes. They no longer blindly follow the premium prices of big brands, instead placing more importance on value for money. LVMH's financial report shows that in 2024, the average spending per customer in China dropped by 35%, while purchase frequency actually increased by 20%. Buy what's right, not what's expensive, is becoming the mainstream consumer mindset among young people. It can be said that in the three strange phenomena in Shanghai and Shenzhen are inevitable outcomes of rapid urbanization and are visible signs of deeper structural imbalances. When an avalanche strikes, no snowflake is innocent, and the collective pain of this urban crisis has quietly begun.